Welcome back to King Bush and Bezza's Championship predictions. Bezza's just going to give us a quick update on the table so far of the Championship. So we've only been doing it 2 weeks. We've started a little bit late, but we thought obviously we're going to be doing this regular next season, and it's going to be a regular show that we put on. So Bezza's going to update us currently on where we're sat.
Yeah, and as Lee said, it's only a couple of weeks, but Lee is currently top. Only just there, it's literally about 1 point. So we've got 2 weeks worth of scores in this. In the first week, Lee got 7 and I got 3. And then in the second week, which was last week, I got 7, but Lee managed to pick himself up 4 points. So that extra point last week, which was funnily enough, it was tonight's Portsmouth Derby game. And I was watching the game live, and Portsmouth were dominating and couldn't score. If they'd have scored a goal, that would have meant I'd have been top. So it just shows how close football can be. But yeah, as it stands, Lee's top on 11 points, and I've got 10 points.
And that's the way it's going to stay for the rest of the season. So
we'll see.
See if Bez can catch me. So we're going to start with the first game of the Championship. And I've gone Preston 1, Stoke City 1. So both of these teams for me are teams that will always be in the Championship. None are too bad to go down. None are ever going to be good enough to go up. Mid-table teams. Obviously, Stoke doing a little bit better this season. They obviously in 13th place. But Preston at home, hard to beat. Don't score many. Don't concede many. I'm gone for a 1-1 draw.
I've actually gone a 1-0 Stoke away win. And I think Lee's right. I think you're right in terms of both very similar teams. The reason I've gone a Stoke win is because Preston's form at the minute's not been very good. If you go back, 2-3 months, Preston were fighting to get in those playoff spots, and I was even surprised at that. I thought that Preston be a team that'd be struggling near the bottom, and they've not done that. So fair play, but their recent form has took them from almost fighting to get in the playoffs to 17th. Now, luckily for them, they've got 49 points, which would suggest that one win and they're probably guaranteed safety. They're still 10 points clear of Oxford at third bottom, so they've got no danger of that. But they have lost 4 in a row, and Stoke, they're very volatile. Their performances. It's just, to me, this is just the sort of game that Mark Robbins goes and gets a nasty 1-0 win, and that's the reason I've kind of gone Preston 0, Stoke 1.
Okay, so on to the next game, which is Blackburn Rovers and Middlesbrough. So Blackburn, I think, are in a world of trouble. I think they could be dragged into potentially getting relegated. I don't see them picking up many wins from now to the end of the season. I think Middlesbrough as well. I think they're going to have itchy bum time, squeaky bum time, whatever it's called. And I think they're going to drop points, but I don't think they'll drop it here. I think it'll be a tight game, though, because Blackburn need the point, and they're at home, so they need the points. But I think Middlesbrough will have too much quality for them and sneak a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that you think Blackburn are in trouble because, they've just gone to Millwall away and won 2-1. Now, to be fair, they were 1-0 down, and obviously Millwall got a red card, and Blackburn managed to turn it around based on the fact that Millwall had that red card. But that is a terrific win, and it's results like that what make me think Blackburn won't go down. However, I do agree with Lee. I've got Blackburn 1, Middlesbrough 2, so same sort of result, just a different scoreline. Middlesbrough obviously very unlucky to only draw at home Bristol City at the weekend. Obviously, a last-minute corner and just a free header, and it's 1-1. Now, I do have concerns, even though I've got Middlesbrough winning this game, I do have concerns for Middlesbrough. I said it on last week's video. They're a team who they get to this stage at the season and they do start to panic and they start dropping points. And, last 2 games they've dropped points. They've obviously drawn to Bristol City and they lost at home to Charlton. So they're almost already on that road. I do think they'll win this, but I think Ipswich will catch them. As it stands now, Ipswich win their game in hand, and that takes them above Middlesbrough in second place. So I'd argue Middlesbrough are the ones chasing Ipswich at the minute because of that game in hand. But yeah, I still think they'll win this game. But yeah, I do worry for you Middlesbrough fans. I don't think you're going to, sneak over that line. I think you're going to have to settle for a playoff place, unfortunately.
Up next, my relegation favourites at the beginning of the season, which has given me a bit of egg on my face because obviously Derby are doing quite well. This is a real tough one to predict, really, because I've gone 1-1. Birmingham have sort of picked up a little bit recently. They've got good players. Derby also teetering on getting the playoffs. They may have left a little bit too much to do, but I think they're playing really well. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw. I think Birmingham, they got a draw at Sheffield United, and I think Sheffield United are a better team than Derby. Obviously, Derby are above Sheffield United, but I think man for man, Sheffield United have got a better squad than Derby. And Birmingham got a draw at Bramall Lane. So I would say they're more than capable of getting a point at Derby. So I've gone 1-1.
Yeah, and I've done the same. I've got Derby 1, Birmingham 1. I mean, they're basically next to each other in the league table. Derby in 8th, Birmingham in 9th. Derby's win literally an hour ago, has took them an additional 3 points clear of Birmingham, because I think it was obviously a point beforehand. So that win today's made them 4 points clear of Birmingham. But yeah, I agree with Bushy. I think two similar sides. And Derby obviously have the home advantage. I did predict that Birmingham would get like a draw against Sheffield United just because I said I think the manager was under a little bit of pressure, and I still think he is. And I think he'll take that into this game, and that's why I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. Derby a little bit unpredictable at times, although they've got an outside chance of getting playoffs. I don't think they will do, but they have still got that outside chance. And when you've got Sammy Smodics, who again scored tonight, you can always score goals at that level. So, yeah.
On to Ipswich Millwall. This one, I really had difficulty picking. I do fancy, actually, I've already put it in now, so I can't really change it. Looking at it, I do fancy Ipswich to potentially nick it. But Millwall, up until losing to Blackburn, they've been on a good run of form. They beat Derby, they beat Hull, they beat Preston, they beat Birmingham 3-0. But I think Millwall always play better against better teams. So they lost to Blackburn, and the previous loss to that was to Portsmouth, another team that aren't doing brilliant. So for me, I think Millwall will raise the game. I think Millwall, I think they are the fourth best team in the league, but Ipswich are the third best team in the league. So it's going to be very difficult, but I think Millwall will be really up for this, especially after losing the Blackburn game. And I think they'll go there for a point. I really do. I think they'll shut up shop, go there for a point. And I think Ipswich will huff and puff. And I'm hoping they don't blow the dough down. But if they do, I won't be surprised either. So I'm going to go 1-1. I'm hoping it's 1-1, but I can easily see Ipswich nicking it 2-1 or 3-2 by the one-goal margin if one team does win it. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 because Millwall play better against the teams at the top.
Yeah, and I've gone that 2-1 to Ipswich like you've half suggested there, Lee. I agree it's going to be a tight game. I agree that Millwall, I do think they will raise the game against an Ipswich side who are probably one of the best squads in the division. I still think, you said that Millwall are fourth in terms of quality of the league. I would still put Millwall a little bit lower down. I think they've got quality, but I just think they're probably more seventh, eighth sort of team in terms of quality. I do, yeah. I mean, just off the top of your head, I'd argue Coventry, Middlesbrough, Ipswich, Southampton. You said Sheffield United. That's probably five sides who are put above.
Yeah, I mean, they're a better squad, but do they play as a better team? Because this Millwall team is a proper team. The players.
Oh yeah. In terms of like playing together, they're one at best in the league. But in terms of individual quality, I think they've been more seventh, eighth personally.
Yeah.
I do think it's not. This is not a foregone conclusion that Ipswich will win the game. I just think Ipswich they've still got a better team than Millwall. Obviously, Ipswich they didn't start very well, so to get to this position, they're obviously hit a lot of form over the last 3 to 4 months. So they're obviously are a form team. They've not lost in the last 5. So I can't see them losing. Obviously, you've got a draw. I just think with Ipswich being at home, they'll just get that win. Like you said, Millwall will raise their game. I think Ipswich will raise their game as well because they know they'll be in for a battle. And I do fancy Ipswich to grab that second place, or if not top, but they'll definitely get a top 2 finish in my opinion. On
to the next game, which is Bristol City against West Bromwich Albion. So I've gone 2-1 to West Bromwich Albion. Now, I think this is a banker, actually. And I think people might be shocked West Brom struggling. But you look at West Brom's last form. They beat Hull 3-0 in the last game. They drew with Southampton 1-1. And they drew away at Sheffield United 1-1. They then drew with Charlton and lost to Coventry. So that's a pretty tough run of fixtures. They did lose in there to Oxford as well. But if you look at Bristol City, they drew away at Middlesbrough, which is a good point. But they lost to Leicester, who were struggling. They lost to Coventry. They even lost to Port Vale in the Cup. And then they lost to Watford as well. So they're on a terrible run of form, Bristol City. And I think if you look at the league table, Bristol City are on 51 points. So they're safe. They've nothing really to play for. And West Brom are 21st on 40 points. This is a massive game for West Brom. And I think due to that, they will get the victory. And it's my banker of the weekend. I believe there is no way that West Bromwich Albion come out of that without winning. 2-1 West Bromwich Albion.
Well, I think banker of the week is very strong. Considering West Brom have won one in 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever it is. I look at obviously you're right. West Brom did beat Hull 3-0, but Hull were down to 10 men from about half an hour in, and the game was 0-0. So I wonder if Hull had kept 11 men up pitch, would they have gone?
What about the 1-1 draw at Sheffield United as well?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't always happen. I get that, but yeah, we've had 2 games now. Yeah, we've had 2 games there where, because even Millwall, Millwall winning 1-0, there were no way they were going to lose that, and then they'll get a red card and lose 2-1. So it can go either way. I get that. Now, I've actually gone Bristol City 2, West Brom 1, and it was a hard one, this one, because I think what Lee's half right in what he says. West Brom have got something to play for. They're fighting for their lives at the bottom. Regardless of the red card, it's still a great win to win 3-0 at Hull City. And obviously, they picked up 2 points from the previous 2 games before that as well. So 5 points in 3 games shows that they are battling. And what does frustrate me about Rotherham, my team, is that West Brom, I thought, were doomed 3-4 weeks ago. They brought in a caretaker manager, said he would permanent at the end of the season, and I honestly thought the club had almost given in. But it's kind of had the opposite effect. And you could see that they're working hard, the players, and they're trying to grind results out, which is why they've got the 2 draws, and obviously they got the win at Hull. So I have to say fair play to West Brom. I still think they're in trouble, but I'm looking at the league table now, and after Portsmouth losing tonight, it looks more like them they could be in trouble, but obviously we'll come on to them later. Now, the reason I've got Bristol City is Bristol City are a team who are very, very volatile in terms of the results and performances, very up and down. Now, they've not won a game for 4 games. They've lost 3 and drawn 1. And I think they're due a win. And sometimes when you want that win, and you made this point last week about QPR, you want a team like West Brom, where I think Bristol City can almost outplay West Brom and get the 3 points, and that's what I think will happen here. I think Bristol City have not won for so long that they're due a win. Always after Bristol City, and they'll get that win this weekend against West Brom, and that's the only reason I've gone West Brom or Bristol City 2, West Brom 1.
The next game is Charlton and Norwich. We don't have a slide for this one for some reason, but I've gone Charlton 0, Norwich 2. Norwich they're another team. They were down near the bottom and they've hit some extraordinary form, and they're halfway up the table now. I think Charlton could go back down. I thought that they were the weakest of the teams that got promoted. And I did expect them to struggle this season. They did better than I thought. I do like the manager that Charlton's got, but I think Norwich will have too much, and I've gone for 2-0.
Similar score to yourself. I've gone Charlton 1, Norwich 2. So the only difference is I've got Charlton scoring a goal. Norwich sent out last week. I like the way the club's run. They've won 4 in a row. Since the new manager's come in, he's been brilliant. I think they've won probably 56% of the games. They've got the squad to fight up. I'd argue that Norwich have got a better squad than Millwall as well, to be honest. They spent 50 million quid in summer, so they should have a good squad. And I do think Norwich will be challenging next season, that is for sure. Charlton, I'm looking at Charlton in the league now. I think they've got enough points already to stop up. 2 weeks ago, they were on about 40 points, and it did look worrying for them, but they've just got 2 wins and a draw. So an additional 7 points, and they're on 48 now. And I just, he only needs 50 to stay up. So I can't see Charlton going down. Like, I don't know who else they've got fixtures-wise, but I just can't see them being dragged into it. Like, there's actually a 6-point gap between 18th Charlton and 19th Blackburn, and to me, that's the cut-off. So anyone Charlton above aren't going down, almost impossible. From Blackburn and below, have got a chance of going down. Obviously, we'll talk about Portsmouth later on. But yeah, for me, Charlton won't go down, but they will lose this game 2-1.
Up next, we've got Hull City versus Sheffield Wednesday. I've gone 3-1 to Hull. Sheffield Wednesday really struggling. Hull trying to get promotion, so Hull will beat them quite easily. I think Sheffield Wednesday have a man in form in Jerry Yates. Seems to be scoring all the time at the minute, so I think he will notch again and keep his run up. But I think this will be comfortable for Hull. 3-1. Could even end up being 4 or 5, but I've stuck to 3.
I can't argue a lot what you said there. I've gone Hull 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0. I do agree with Yates, obviously scoring a lot at the minute. I just think his goals will dry up eventually because Jerry Yates is normally a poacher who relies on chances created. And let's face it, Wednesday don't create a lot of chances. He's been scoring goals recently, but history will tell you that if you don't create chances, those goals will dry up, and I think they will dry up eventually. And that's why I've kept Wednesday with a 0, not scoring any goals at all. Agree with Lee that I think Hull could get more than 2. But I've just gone 2-0 because it's kind of a standard score. Hull, they're doing well at the top. They're obviously 5th in league. Now, one thing to note at Hull as well is that their goal difference is only +3, which is quite low for being 5th in the league. And I suppose that kind of backs up my point where they'll only win by a couple of goals. So, yeah, there's that as well. So, yeah, that's it. Hull 2, Wednesday 0.
Up next, QPR versus Portsmouth. So I think Portsmouth are going down this season, 100%. I don't think they'll stay up. QPR are just a sort of run-of-the-mill Championship side in 16th. They're already on 50 points, so safe, basically. But I still think they'll beat Portsmouth, even though Portsmouth have got something to play for. I just think Portsmouth are dreadful. They're on a terrible run. Lost to Derby, lost to Swansea, only drew with Blackburn when they needed to beat Blackburn as they're down there with them. They then lost to Hull, they lost to Wrexham. So I think Portsmouth are in a world of trouble. I think they'll go down because I don't think West Brom will go down. I think Portsmouth will take that final relegation spot. For me, it'll be a tough game because obviously Portsmouth will be wanting to win because they've got more to play for than QPR. But QPR are usually a decent home side in the Championship, and I think they'll just have enough to edge past Portsmouth. So I've gone 2-1.
Yeah, and I've got exact same scoreline. QPR 2, Portsmouth 1. Quickly on QPR, a bit of a random win at the weekend for them. The form before that was like, I think 4 or 5 losses in a row. And then they've gone to Leicester and won 3-1, which I think we're all taken back by. I mean, that just kind of shows how unpredictable the Championship is, to be honest with you. And that win actually for QPR put Leicester back into trouble as well. Portsmouth, yeah, I'm just looking at it now, and if you look at the bottom, I don't know, if you obviously ignore Wednesday because they're already down, then look at the 5 or 6 teams above Wednesday, you'd argue that West Brom's the worst team in terms of form. They've lost 4 out of 5, and the other game in that run was a draw against the Blackburn side as well, so a decent point away from home, I guess, but yeah, still not great. And I do worry for Portsmouth now. They have still got a game in hand. Don't know who that game in hand's against, but they have got a game in hand. So if they can pick up some points there, then that will probably help them to stay up. I think, I still think Leicester will get out of it, even though they're second bottom. So I think the 2 places are between Oxford, West Brom and Portsmouth for me. I still think Blackburn will get out of it, as I've already said. I like the manager. And obviously, just got a good win against Millwall. So, yeah, it's 2 from them, Oxford, West Brom and Portsmouth. And at the minute, you've got to say Oxford are going to get out of it because the new manager, he's won 3 in a row, and then they've got a draw against the Charlton side who are on good form. And I'm pretty sure that were a late goal as well for Charlton, so they almost won that. So you've got to give credit to Matt Bloomfield. Obviously, we'll talk about Oxford more later on. But, yeah, I've gone QPR, same as Lee, QPR 2. At Portsmouth 1.
Super. On to Sheffield United versus Wrexham. Now, I think this is going to be a difficult game. Obviously, Wrexham are in 6th, Sheffield United in 15th. Wrexham are actually 10 points better off than Sheffield United, but I think Sheffield United have got a much better squad than sort of Wrexham. The form kind of mirrors each other. They've both been winning games, but then adding the odd loss in. And obviously, Sheffield United have had an odd draw in there. But on the day, Wrexham can beat anybody. They beat Ipswich 5-3. Obviously, they beat Portsmouth. They won at Charlton. But then they lost at home to Hull, which that's just a Championship result all over. And they beat Swansea 2-0. Sheffield United again. They beat Norwich. They lost to Norwich, who are on good form. Only drew with Birmingham and West Brom, so they drew with them too. But then they beat QPR, lost to Coventry, and then beat Sheffield Wednesday. So Sheffield United aren't in the form that you think they are. Because I thought they were going to potentially nick into them playoffs. I can't see that happening now. They're throwing too many points away, and I fear that if they don't win this game, and this is the reason I picked them to win, so I think Chris Wilder's going to start getting under a bit of pressure now. I think the results turned when he first came, started well, but they've gone back to being very mediocre. And that's not acceptable with that squad that they've got. For me, they have got the best squad, in my opinion, in the whole of the Championship. And I include Coventry in that. I include Ipswich in that. I think the Sheffield United squad is the best in that league. They have got Premiership quality in that squad with Calvin Phillips, Hamer, Bamford, all of these players, the Premiership, they were playing in the Premiership last season, some of them. They have got the quality. I really like Pack as well, the homegrown lad. I think he's absolute quality. And I just think Sheffield United are the biggest underachievers this season. Because of that and the pressure that they're under, I think, and with Wrexham needing a win to try and get in the playoffs, I think they will fall at Bramall Lane, and I'm gone 2-1.
Yeah, I've gone same scoreline. Sheffield United 2, Wrexham 1. Now, that's the main reason I've kind of gone for this is because I don't know if you remember when Sheffield United did play Wrexham in an FA Cup game a few years ago when Wrexham were, I don't know if they're in League 2 or the National League, and they were a little bit a bite from Chris Wilder because Chris Wilder was manager at the time, and I think he was unhappy with something Wrexham did or the way they played or something or other, and he almost grew maybe just like we all are, a little bit of jealousy from the way Wrexham are currently run, and the fact that Wrexham have gone from the National League and they're on the verge of Premier League now. Maybe there's a hint of jealousy in there that he's not got that Sheffield United, I don't know, but I know that Wrexham did get under his skin for the FA Cup tie, so he'll want to win this more than anyone, and that's the main reason I think Sheffield win the game. You're right.
Yeah, he can't have jealousy with that squad. I mean, when you're signing Calvin Phillips in the Championship, you know what I mean? Sheffield United have got a very, very good squad.
Yeah, it's probably more jealousy with the owners and the fact that the owners are almost spending millions of pounds every year. Now, I agree with you, Sheffield United has spent a lot of the last few years, but that's more to do with the fact that they've been able to through getting to Premier League. They've not got like a sugar daddy like Wrexham have they? That's what I was trying to say. But you're right with the form. The form's not great, United. And I agree with you that the quality squad is definitely one of the best in the Championship. Don't disagree with that. And if it weren't for, if they kept Wilder at first place, they probably would have been closer to that top 6 spot. Obviously, Ruben Sellers he was really poor, weren't he, for United? Wrexham, they are actually on good form, but as Lee said, they had that one, if you like, freak result where they lost at home to Hull against nothing because Wrexham had won 4 out of 5. Hull has lost 3 out of 4 as well, before that. So, yeah, a bit of a surprise result. But yeah, it's more to do with the fact that I think Wilder will have his troops up this game, and that's why they'll come away with a 2-1 win.
On to Southampton versus Oxford United. So Oxford, to be fair, are on a decent run of form. So, I mean, I know they drew with Charlton. They beat Blackburn, which are around them. They beat Preston away, which Preston isn't an easy place to go to. They won 3-1 there. They also beat West Brom, another relegation rival around them, 2-1. And then they only narrowly lost away at Stoke, 2-1, who were chasing promotion. And also another promotion chasing team, they went and drew 0-0. So they're no pushover Oxford, but I just feel that Southampton are in a false position. They should be in the top 4 for me. I mean, they beat Coventry last weekend 2-1. They obviously then drew with West Brom, which weren't a great result, but then they beat Fulham in the FA Cup. They also beat Sheffield Wednesday, and they absolutely smashed QPR 5-0. Followed up by a draw against Charlton, so they can be unpredictable. But I'm just going 3-0 Southampton. I think Oxford are trying to get out of it, but I still think Oxford will get relegated eventually. 3-0 for me.
I've gone similar. I've gone Southampton 2, Oxford 0, so not as much of the hammering as yourself, Lee. I'll start with Oxford. Fair play to Oxford. When I first started doing this like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I had Oxford down and out of it. Couldn't see a way back for him. I do like the manager that they brought in, but I don't think he's the sort of manager who gets you out of relegation because obviously he took Luton Town down at this time last year. But he's proven me wrong. 3 wins in a row and then a decent draw against the Charlton side who hit a bit of form as well. If you can carry on that form, then fair play. I think they will stay up. The problem is, as Lee said, I think Southampton They're on good form as well. Ever since they got rid of Will Steele, which just didn't work for him, they seem to have slowly gone up that table. And I do think Southampton will get in the playoffs. I think the form they're on now, they've not lost in 5, won 3, drawn 2. They're scoring lots of goals, 2, 1, 3, 5 against QPR, so they are scoring a lot of goals. I just think, like Lee says, Southampton are too much for Oxford in this game. What Oxford have got to do is they've got to try and get through this game, not get hammered, and just focus on other, if you like, all the easier games that I'm hoping they've got coming up. So yeah, Southampton 2, Oxford 0.
On to the next game, which is Watford against Leicester. So it's now or never for Leicester for me. I think they've got a squad that's way too good to get relegated. I can't see Leicester getting relegated. I really can't. But they're in a very bad position and they need to start picking up wins. And for me, this will come this weekend against Watford. Watford on 52 points now, safe mid-table, 12th in the league. Nothing to play for. Leicester's got everything to play for. I think Leicester have got a better squad than Watford, despite the league positions. For me, Leicester win this 2-0.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said there, Lee. I've got Watford 1, Leicester 2, so Leicester really do have to win this game, really. I thought when they got the win against Bristol City, that I thought that would kind of start them on a run. I'm not saying they would have they should have really beaten QPR, to be fair. So that was a bit of a shocking result, to be honest with you. But yeah, they need to bounce back here and bounce back quick. If they don't bounce back quick, then they could end up getting cut adrift. Imagine if they, were to not win this game and lose, and Portsmouth, Blackburn, West Brom pick up points, they could be 5 points adrift if not careful. So yeah, it's almost a must-win game for Leicester, and I think they will do it. Just quickly on Watford, just your standard mid-table team, no chance going down, probably not going to go up either. Very inconsistent team. I think Leicester will. I think because they're desperate for a win, they'll just work the socks off and get the 2-1 win.
And then the final game of the Championship weekend is between Swansea and Coventry City. Now, I've gone for a bit of a shock here, and it might bite me in the bum because I think Coventry should win this game, but I think it's going to be tighter than people imagine. The pressure is on Coventry. They slipped up at the weekend. And now, obviously, I think it's a 7-point gap they've got between them and second now, Coventry. So I think the pressure is going to be on Coventry. And the thing is, Swansea normally, they've got nothing to worry about. Mid-table, 52 points. Not going to go up, not going to go down. They can play and express themselves in front of the home crowd. Playing top of the league, it's always a scalp. So you'll get that extra 10-15% of effort despite nothing being played for. When you play the top of the league, players always think, I want to test myself against the supposed best team in the league's the top, and I want to test myself. It's a hard place to go, Swansea, and when you've got pressure to keep winning, I think they'll come unstuck, and I've gone 2-2.
Yeah, I've got Coventry winning this 2-1. I do agree with a lot what you're saying there, Lee. I think I'll start with Coventry. A few weeks ago, Coventry did start slipping up. I think there was something like 12, 13 points clear, and then it got closed down to. In fact, Coventry might have fell into second, actually, if I remember correctly. And they've come through that 4 or 5 wins in a row. And they've gone back to 7 points clear at the top. Now, they've only lost the one game, which was to a good Southampton side, to be fair. So, that's not a shameful result, losing it onto Southampton. So, I still think they're going to go up, Coventry. I think they're going to get the win. They're still in form, as I said. They're going to get the win. Swansea, again, they're a mid-table side. They're literally same place as Watford in 11th on 52 points, same as Watford. Very inconsistent. And I do agree with you, Lee, that Swansea probably will raise the game. And you do tend to raise your game when You're playing top of the league. I can't disagree with that. But I just think Coventry will have too much for him. Coventry's squad is still full of a lot of talent worth millions of pounds. You know, Haji Wright, for example, cost 8, 9, 10 million quid. So they've still got players like that. So yeah, I still think they'll go to Swansea and get a 2-1 victory.
And that wraps us up then for this week. So thank you for watching, guys. We do really enjoy doing this. There's a bit of banter on the line as well. So do you think Bez is going to pull that point back? So he's only one result away. So obviously he will be confident. There's quite a few results there that are different as well. So I think we've only got 2 that are exactly the same. The rest are different. So it should make for interesting reading to see who comes out on top this week. See if it's still the King Bush top or has Bez taken that crown. So I think it is going to be tight. Bez, are you confident that you can pull it back?
I mean, what I would say, I said last week, the Championship is quite hard to predict, as we've said before. And I suppose in this league, as opposed to League One, there's a little bit of element of luck. Like, you know, we both had Leicester to win for argument's sake, and QPR went to Leicester and won 3-1. So there's a lot of twists and turns and shocks in this division. So it's more because of that. I think because we're focused on the Championship in this video, it could go either way. But yeah, I'm as confident as I will be. I'm the number 1 prediction guy at our work. My colleagues will confirm that. So yeah, I think I'll end up winning this league.
And I'm the number 1 prediction guy on this channel for the Premier League show as well. So I know my football. I don't think I'm going to fail here. I think I will come out top on both leagues as well. So we do a League One show and we do a Championship show. I'm confident I will finish top of both. But Bez is confident as well, and he tells me he's been doing it for many years at work, and he always comes out on top. So it is a good challenge. I do actually respect Bez's opinions because I have noticed when he's reasoning, he does know what he's talking about. So a lot of people I've done this against before, and they have totally different results. I see Bez as a very, even if they're not the same, it's the odd goal here or there. If you look, they are very similar, and we give very similar reasons. So it is going to be tight. I'm not going to say I'm going to absolutely smash Bez on this. I could easily say by the end of the week, Bez could be in the front of that one. And that's how it could go. It would be very nip and tuck because I can tell already he does put a lot of thought in to his predictions. So I've got to be on my game. And I'm getting older. Bez is younger than me as well. So my brain's slowing down a bit. So he could try and take over the old dog. But we'll see.
Just like that, I'm sure he's got his excuses out already, look.
Yeah. I'm coming with some negative vibes, mate. Negative vibes. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.